After NSS, society, your parents, friends, and family will expect you to start living an independent and a matured life. To live a successful independent life, first of all, you need to be able to provide for yourself. And secondly, you must have an ambition, a clear ambition in life to contribute to society. How do you get these two things done? Today, I want us to discuss some of the opportunities that are available after NSS. My name is Yin, and I teach the discipline of work. So first of all, we want to explore some opportunities that are available after NSS. Number two, I will share some ideas concerning the challenges that most of you do face in terms of looking for opportunities. And then I will share some practical ideas to help you navigate these challenges. Let's start with some few facts, right? NSS no longer guarantee a job. So if you have been placed in an institution somewhere, there's no guarantee that you'll be retained at the end of service. That is just the truth. And the opportunities that are available where some NSPs will be retained are quite few compared to the NSPs within that organization. So even if maybe some of you were going to be retained where you are, there are many of you working there and only a few can be retained. So the competition is also very high in that regard. All right. Now, there are also a lot of opportunities available for NSPs, and we will look at them shortly. But these opportunities can be split into two. So if you are highly skilled, then you fall into this group of people that can easily get a job. And those people have less competition because there are only few, maybe less than 5% that fall into this highly skilled, unusually talented NSPs. Then the rest of us fall into a pool that if you employ anyone, you can train him to do the job. So you fall mostly into these groups that will explore low-end jobs, and the competition there is quite very high because you don't need very specialized skills. Okay. Another challenge is that with this competition that most of you are going to face, you haven't really looked at it to see how it's going to go. So you are not too sure of how the future is going to look like. But there are at least 4 opportunities for NSPs. The first one is that you can get a job, an entry-level job in Ghana here or abroad. Number two, you can decide to enroll in graduate school in Ghana here or abroad. Number three, you can start a business, entrepreneurship, or you can start an NGO, depending on the kind of ideas that you have to start. And number four, you can go into TVET. You can acquire a skill, a hard skill. For example, maybe going into a mechanic, or if you like hairdressing, or any of these hard-end skills that you can provide a service directly. That is also another opportunity. And in fact, it is the fastest growing area that is making many NSPs very, very successful compared to all the other 3 that I have mentioned. And we will come back to that shortly. Now, understanding each of these opportunities and knowing what is required to go into them is very important. Then you can make an early decision as to where you want to go and what you want to do. What I have seen is that for many NSPs around us, the idea is to just go to graduate school at the end of your service. You do not consider a job here as an option. Only a few have that ambition to consider taking a job here. Entrepreneurship is out for many NSPs. And of course, TVET is out for many NSPs as well. So it seems that most of you are competing for just one track and leaving the 3 other tracks with less competition. Okay, so that is something to remember from this session. Now, what are the challenges that is making it difficult for many NSPs to live an independent life after service? First of all, many NSPs do not see Ghana as an option. That is the highest challenge that I see. Many of you do not see living life in Ghana as an option. So that will only happen if everything else fails. Okay, now that leaves a huge opportunity. It means that if I take maybe 90,000 NSPs, there will be probably 1,000 who or maybe let's just be fair and say 10,000 who truly want to live and work in Ghana. They are looking for opportunities here to work, grow their career here. The rest will all be focusing on leaving the country to go abroad. And it's not because they can't find jobs here. It's because the mindset is that Ghana is not an option. It's not a place to live. Society has taught us that the only place that you can be successful is abroad. And most people truly just want to leave and they don't see this place as an option. Right. So that is the first challenge. The second challenge is that many are not willing to explore all the options. I've mentioned 4 options here. I see many just looking in just one direction to go to graduate school, learn more, and that is it. A few are looking for jobs here, and even with the jobs, they are looking for jobs that will pay them like someone with 10 years experience, but not an entry-level job. Right. Number 3, many are not willing to start small. I think I've mentioned that already. Career is grown, okay? It's not made at a sitting or at a go. Okay, all of us will have to start from somewhere. So you start from an entry-level job, then you grow your skills to a point that you get promoted or you get another opportunity somewhere that is a bit better than where you are. Then you grow your skills again to the point where you can move on into a bigger role. And then you continue to grow until you get to a place where probably you are able to deploy most of your skills and make the biggest impact on society. That is how career is built. Okay, so the idea that you can just finish a university degree, fulfill an NSS position, and then all of a sudden you get yourself into a high-paying job doesn't exist. Okay, you start with an entry-level job and then you grow your career gradually into a place where your income goes up and you begin to make more impact on society as well. Right. Then number 4, most NSPs do not apply enough. After school, he just applies to 2 or 3 graduate school. After NSS, he applies to 2 or 3 graduate school positions. And if it doesn't work, he hangs around at home. And that is it. Most don't do much. Okay, they won't go out there to find maybe a low-end job and try to use that to move themselves up, except a few who don't have an option but to keep a job, right? So if you don't have a job, your job is to apply for job. So you spend most of your time, let's say 8 hours a day, doing just that. Okay. Then many of you also apply with a closed mind. By a closed mind, it means that most of you are not willing to explore beyond what is available. Then, as I said, one of the major challenges is that many NSPs just do not apply enough. So you apply for a few positions and you just wait to get lucky. If you don't have a job, your job is to apply for jobs. So you spend the whole day just doing that. And then the more you apply and the more strategic you position yourself, the better your chances will be in terms of getting positions. Then I've also realized that for many NSPs, your goal is not really to work. Your goal is to make money. They are not the same thing, okay? Your goal should be, because you want to develop a career, you want to work. And then in the process of working, you can earn, okay? But if the goal is to just earn, then you want to find a cheap way to earn. You don't really want to give your best in the work. And in that case, it becomes difficult for you to find a position because in the interview, that will become pretty clear, okay? There are some candidates also probably left the NSS position without any tangible skill that they can show for it. For example, if you attend an interview and they ask you, okay, so during the 1 year of NSS, what did you pick up in terms of hard skills? Many of you may not be able to articulate that properly because there isn't really anything that you can lay your hands on and say, this is what I acquired and this is what I can sell to earn a job. All right. And then finally, many NSPs, because probably you did not fulfill your position intentionally, you didn't develop the required skills to be able to keep a job. To keep a job, you have to show up on time, stay and work throughout the day and close on time. You need to know everything that pertains to working and keeping a job, building a career, being professional all the time and consistently developing yourself and delivering services. These are skills that you must learn. And if you don't have them, it will become difficult for you to take opportunities that comes with the position. So what should you do? Okay, I'm just going to share a few ideas to help you take the opportunities that comes after NSS. First, you need the right goal. Okay. The goal is to grow a career. I tell many NSPs all the time that a career is not just built, it's grown. Okay. So the old idea that you graduate from school, you work as a service personnel, and then after that, you get a well-paying job and then work in that position until you die is no longer existent. It's not true. Okay, now career is grown. So immediately after your service, the first position that comes, if it is suitable, you start from there, regardless of how small it is. You start to work there, build some skills, build some contacts, and then the next door opens and you move into that. Then you continue working there, building skills, gaining experience. Then another door opens and you move there. That is how career in the 21st century is grown. Okay, so it evolves over time. What I do today wasn't what I was doing 4 years ago. Okay, so the way we work changes over time. Opportunities comes with time, and then you take the opportunities because you've built yourself to the point that you can take them. But if you just sit and wait for a big position, it may never happen. Okay, so that is the first thing I am suggesting that you do. Get the mindset that you are going to grow a career, and so you will start small and build that up over a period of time. And as the doors open, you will be prepared to take them and move on. Okay, then I'm also suggesting that you start a position in Ghana. Okay, there are only few candidates who truly want to build a career in Ghana. And so the competition there is low. Okay. Many of you guys don't want to find a job and work in Ghana, not because there are no jobs here, just because you have decided that this is not a place that you can make anything. So anyone who has the opposite mindset has an advantage. Okay. Because all of you are skilled. And so a little change in mindset puts you in a very good position and ahead of the competition. Okay. So make up your mind to stay in Ghana, find a job here, and work a bit, even if it is just for 1 or 2 years, to gain some experience. Because it's actually cheaper to start from here. Okay. Your family is around, the cost of living is low. You have a few friends and contacts here already that you can make good use of. So starting a career here puts you ahead compared to, let's say, you trying to start a career in another country. Okay. Then be open to what is available. Okay. The positions that are available, you take them and just start from there. You don't wait and put your hope in something that is not yet available, waiting for a position that may never come. For example, most of you are just considering graduate school. And so you sit and wait for 4 to 5 years of your life waiting to get into graduate school, and it may never happen. It may also happen, but too late. You would have wasted 3 to 4 years of your life. If you were earning 100 cedis a day for 3 years, that could have been invested somewhere to put you ahead of your competitors. Okay. So think about it that way. Don't just put yourself in a position where you wait forever. Start with what is available and move from there. Then also develop a growth plan. Okay. Develop a growth plan. You see, if you start today, for example, as a taxi driver, and you have a plan that in the next 5 years you want to own a taxi, that is not a bad career. Okay, where it becomes bad is you start as a taxi driver and then you are just driving taxi. You have no goals, you have no aim. But someone who is driving a taxi today and he has a plan that would grow into something else is doing just what is right. That is how a career is built. So whatever is available, start, but develop a growth plan to exit that into something bigger. That will require that you build some skills, you build some contacts, you look for some opportunities and move when the time is right. Okay. And then finally, do not pay attention to people. People will laugh at you. Our society has this habit of laughing at people who take small jobs. Like maybe you go to decide, maybe after your NSS, you decide to learn barbering or to become a barber for a short period of your life because you have a plan to transition into something else. People will laugh at you to say, well, a graduate who is a barber. It doesn't matter. Okay, you have a plan, so you know what you are doing. Over time, the same people will come around if you make it. So don't be bothered by what people say about you when you start small. Keep your goal in mind and just move in that direction, and God will help you get there. Now, what I want to conclude with is this, that you are going to finish your NSS position very soon. There are very few positions in this country. There are quite a few positions out there. If you wait forever for the position that you want, it may take a longer time before you get it. What I'm advising is that you look for what is available, lay your hands on it, and work, and develop a growth plan to grow that position into something that you can transition into another position. Okay. So starting small is just normal for an NSP. An entry level job is okay for you. You just need to have a plan to develop yourself, be independent, make some mistakes, learn from them, grow, and become a strong person. And that is how you make impact. Don't wait for the best position because there isn't a perfect one. The perfect one is the one that you have today. I hope that this session was useful to you. I wish you all the best, and I'm praying that God will help you to find the position that you desire. See you next week for another session. Bye-bye.